When I was driving to work this morning, I was listening to another radio station, as we broadcasters sometimes do. What I heard shocked and saddened me.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They're here, nerds.
Wait, is this the group that goes around mutilating squirrels?
You just mind your P's and Q's, Buster, and remember who you're dealing with.
Well, at least we found them.
Fortuitous, Captain. And now that we have them all together,
you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They make one person go, blah, 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 and the other person go, what are you talking about? And then one person goes, blah, 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 blah.
Hey, welcome in. Hope everything going well for you on this weekend here. I'm Steve West, and pretty much got the full cast of characters, save one, Josh. Still very busy working behind the scenes with the Irwin brothers on their new project, which hopefully we'll be able to talk about here more coming up very soon. Meantime, the two people that are in studio, myself, Jeff, good morning to you, sir.
Hey, Steve.
Especially if you're listening to the first airing of this, of the three that we're going to air this weekend. Everything going well, sir?
Oh, great. Never been better, Steve.
We're in that dead period right now where there's just nothing coming out movie-wise.
I know, right?
I mean, I'm looking for something to be excited about. I'm kind of excited about next week, which we'll get to a little bit later, but this week, I'm mildly interested in the Idris Elba film, but not so much that I'm like, I got to go see that like right now.
I'd rather see The Drop.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, can't find it in the local area.
Of course not.
Darn it.
Because we hate good things here.
I know. Apparently we do. So we'll get into that here as we go along through. On the phone, not just one, not just two, but three people. We start off with our normal contingent of phone people. Ryan up in Maryland, how are you, sir?
I'm doing more phenomenal, Steve. How are you?
I'm trying to live my life to the fullest. Jacob, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Steve.
Fantastic. And David, we missed you last week, but you're back, even if it's only by phone.
Yes, sir. I'm afeared I've been overcome with the consumption.
I hate it when that happens, sir.
What you been consuming?
Yeah, well, there's that. There's that question. And number two, when you coming down with the vapors?
I'm not sure.
The vapors come after the consumptions. We're not going to get into that fully, by the way. Hope everybody's doing well.
Keep the hacking to a minimum.
Yes, that's fine. Anybody, by any chance, have the chance to see anything over the past week that we have not previously reviewed?
No. I have watched Captain America, the Winter Soldier 3 times.
Yeah, I've got that on DVD.
Since Tuesday.
I'm about ready to watch it again, trust me. Anything, David, Ryan, or Jacob?
I saw Forrest Gump in IMAX.
Okay, we can go through that. Jacob?
No.
No, David, anything?
I saw a Woody Allen documentary on Netflix, but other than that, not really.
Is it worth reviewing?
It was actually pretty good.
Okay.
So,
we might get into that a little bit later if I remember to talk about Woody Allen again. I did happen to go and I put myself through The Giver yesterday afternoon. I was trying to figure out how to fill about an hour and a half, and it's a fairly short film. I'll remind you of that. So we'll get into that review coming up here in just a bit as well.
Well, aren't you just a giver, Steve?
No, I was a receiver in this case. You'd get it if you'd watch the film. By the way, real quick, our friends down at Amstar have let me know a couple of things. Number one, they're about to kick off what they call Retro Cinema. And Retro Cinema, which will kick off in the first week of October, is where they take, for 1 week, each week of the month, they are going to take films that have been out of the movie theaters not just within the past few months, but we're talking years. In the month of October, they're going to highlight Alfred Hitchcock, and they're going to bring back remastered original prints of the films and put them in the theater.
Really?
Yep. 2 nights of the week, and we have tickets that we're going to give away next week for the first of their showings. The first one in the lineup, The Birds.
Nice.
We're going to have tickets to give away for that. I understand Dial M for Murder's in there. I can't remember. I don't think Psycho's one of them. So we'll keep you updated on the lineup as we go on further. But again, next week, we have got a pair of tickets that we're going to give away on this show to The Birds. We'll figure out how to give it away, probably through our Facebook page. So be listening. We'll give you the chance to win coming up shortly. But yeah, looking forward to that. Retro Cinema. Check out some Hitchcock films. They'll be showing them in prime time in the middle of the week. We'll give you more details as we get closer. All right, moving into the top 10 here of the movies that made not a whole lot of money last week. We only had one film, and it was just ever so barely cracked $10 million last week, and it was not Lucy, which came in at number 10. $121.2 million. Not bad for your fill-in draft pick, though, there, sir.
I know, right?
Jacob, you're about ready to call, by the way, the Summer Movie League, aren't you?
Yeah, it's there's no contest anymore.
Yeah, it is pretty much all but over, but I said that we were going to wait until all the movies were out of the theater, so we're going to wait until all the movies are out of the theater. 100-Foot Journey in at number 9, so it's up to $45.6 million. When the Game Stands Tall, up to $23.2 million. Then there's The Giver, made $3.4 million, $37.7 million. The first, and let me think, got into there about 10 past the hour. I got out of the theater, let me think, about 10 minutes before the next hour. Okay, so if I went in at 4:10, came out at 5:50, had 10 to 15 minutes of preview. So we're talking, give or take, about an hour and a half long film.
Yep.
Felt a little bit more closer to 2 hours, but not a bad premise overall. The idea of the government overreach and everything, it was pretty well set up, complicated, but pretty well set up throughout the whole course of it. And then all of a sudden, the last 10 minutes of the film, and we've talked about this many, many times with many, many different people, for the last 10 minutes of the film, all of a sudden, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be your solution, and everything's just going to magically fix itself in a very overly simplistic way. In fact, way too simple. It wasn't a bad film. It wasn't a great film. I give it a 7. It was okay. Well, yeah. It could have been so much better if they just fleshed out the ending of it. This makes me actually want to go back and check out the book. And this is a book, apparently, that's been really, really popular. Jeff Bridges was championing, trying to get this film. He's one of the executive producers, and obviously, and he's given top credit in the billing, by the way. He was wanting to get this thing done for 10, 15 years, something to that effect. And I've heard so many people complain about the fact that this thing strays so far away from the book. Now I actually want to go get the book and see how the book took care of this, because I'm getting the funny feeling the movie people played way too much with it. Is anybody familiar with the book? I know I've asked this before, but I want to double check and make sure.
Not myself.
No?
I read it many years ago and don't remember it very well.
Okay. Ryan, Jacob, either one?
Nope, never read it.
Okay. Just double check and make sure.
I read The Giving Tree.
I read that as well many years ago and don't remember much of it.
Probably not going to help out when it comes to this. Up to number 6 here in the countdown. As above, so below, up to $15.7 million. Not exactly great here. To the top 5, The November Man made $4.3 million, $18 million, so it is losing ground quickly. If I Stay at number 4, $39.5 million for that. It and Let's Be Cops made, give or take, $5.6 million. Let's Be Cops at $66.8 million. Then you got the two heavyweights, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, another $6.5 million in the coffers, $174.7, so it looks like it's going to be struggling to get $200 million. And then the film that should, if it hasn't already this week, gotten to the $300 million mark, Guardians of the Galaxy made another $10.4 million. 294.8 as of Tuesday or Monday's official tally. Is it there yet, Jacob? Did you look?
I don't think it is. I think it's still short, just like maybe a couple million.
Yeah. By the end of this weekend, guess what? It's going to be over.
It'll be there.
Yep, no problem there. All right, so let's move on. Talk about the 2 films that are coming out this week in wide release. They are the aforementioned No Good Deed that stars Idris Elba, Leslie Bibb, Taraji P. Henson. Film about a devoted wife and mother lives the ideal suburban life only to have it overturned by an escaped convict who shows up at her door claiming he's having car problems. He then invades her home, begins to terrorize her family. I like Idris Elba. This isn't breaking any new ground plot-wise. We've kind of seen this before, but I like Idris Elba, and it does intrigue me. But again, I'm not making this appointment viewing.
Well, and it's Idris Elba in a role that we haven't really seen him do much, the bad guy role.
Yeah, that's true. We've seen him in the good guy role plenty of times, but not really the bad guy role. And that brings us to a film that we actually made a promo out of this past week, Dolphin Tale 2, Morgan Freeman, Ashley Judd, and more. Re-entering the lives of the people who saved Dolphin in the first movie. They're looking to get that dolphin, named Winter, a companion in order to remain at the facility where it resides. This is going to be a family film. It will, I think, crack the top 10, barely, but probably spend about a cup of coffee in the top 10. just don't think this thing's going to have staying power, unfortunately for them. I've seen the previews of this. I am thoroughly underwhelmed.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea either.
Seems like there are better family movies out right now.
I didn't know it existed.
Yeah, well, there you go. And then you get out in limited release. If you're so interested in these, you need to check your local listings, find out where or if it's playing near you. The aforementioned The Drop. This is Tom Hardy, Noomi Rapace, James Gandolfini in his last starring role. This is a film that the more I've seen the previews of, I would like to see it as well. But again, being out in limited release, I have yet to find a theater in the Birmingham area that's playing it.
This makes me sad, Steve.
Yes, and it should, sir.
Well, it does.
Also out in limited release, there's a film called The Skeleton Twins, starring Bill Hader, Kristen Wiig, and Luke Wilson. Looks like it might be funny, but I'm not 100% certain.
I've heard good things about it.
Have you?
I think it's about equal parts drama and comedy. It's not just straight up.
Gotcha. Movie called The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby, which stars James McAvoy and Jessica Chastain. Atlas Shrugged, who is John Galt. This is actually the third of 3 movies done by an independent group. This one starring Rob Morrow, Laura Regan, third and final part of the book made into films. I've seen the first 2 parts. I would like to see the last part, but it goes back to The Drop, where there ain't nobody on the local level that's playing it. Let's see. Actually, quite a few films here that are coming out in limited release this week. Bird People, something called SwearNet, the movie. My Old Lady, which stars Kevin Kline, Maggie Smith, and Kristen Scott Thomas. The Green Prince, I Am 11, and a film called Honeymoon.
Oh.
Yeah, not much. The Drop is what I'd be most interested in this week, and nobody's playing it. Next week, got a couple of films that you might be interested in. Another young adult film, The Maze Runner. And you've got a movie called This Is Where I Leave You. That's the Jane Fonda one with Kristen Wiig, speaking of her, and Jason Bateman about the family reunion at the house where they're all stuck for the weekend or something like that. And a film that I'm really interested in, Liam Neeson's Walk Among the Tombstones.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Nothing wrong with a good Liam Neeson kills everybody movie.
Absolutely. So at least we got something that we're looking forward to here over the next couple of weeks. By the way, found out it doesn't debut until next Thursday at 10 p.m.
What?
Yeah.
Devils.
I know.
Devils. I want Liam Neeson as my jam, yo.
That just sounds really weird coming out of your mouth, man.
What? Liam Neeson is my jam?
Yeah, it's odd.
Who are you?
I'll make sure that's on your tombstone one day.
As you walk among them?
Yes.
Aww.
Here lies Jeff Myers. Liam Neeson was his jam.
Yo.
How poignant.
That's right.
Good grief. All right, let's see what we got coming up here as we go on through. Plenty of things to get to news-wise. We've got sequels to talk about as well. And it's interesting, Jacob, we're going to start off with you because apparently, and I'm going to go ahead and break into this movie news now because I find it interesting that a name that we remember so well when it came to releasing films like Terminator and RoboCop, MGM has decided to revive the name. What's coming back?
Yeah, the legendary Orion Pictures is going to be back again. I guess I shouldn't use legendary because that's the name of another studio. But,
well, yeah, that's true.
But Orion Pictures is back. MGM bought them in 1997 after they had some financial issues, and they are kind of reviving them as like a specialty platform to release kind of smaller budget things. They're starting with the October release of a horror sequel called The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
All right. It's going to be kind of, I mean, they're going to keep the original way that they introduced Orion? Are they going to update the logo or what? Do we know any of that?
Apparently it's still the same logo that you've seen before. I think it's probably been, digitally updated just slightly just to, make it look nice, but it's the same little intro that you've seen for many, many years.
It'd be kind of nice to see that back in the theaters.
True science fact.
Yes.
That's the only reason that I can pick out that constellation. And it's the only constellation that I can pick out of the sky. Yes.
You can't pick out like the Big Dipper or anything like that?
Well, I mean, Big Dipper, but Orion. Boom, there he is.
All right.
Yeah.
I saw that news and I felt a little warm inside. As a kid, whenever I would see an Orion movie come on, I would always be tricked just for a second into thinking that like Star Trek was coming on or something.
and were you disappointed?
Always a little bit, but
even with well, I asked that because I think about some of the films that they're well known for releasing, even when it comes to films like the original Terminator.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
I mean,
Terminator, RoboCop, Amadeus, Platoon, Dances with Wolves, Silence of the Lambs.
That's actually a pretty good lineup of films that they did.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, you mentioned having watched Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier, what, 3 times?
So far this week.
You will be well qualified to start talking about Chris Evans and him with his shield.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Yes, we'll talk about that next.
They do all their own stunts. The Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
There was just so little this week when it came to No Good Deed and Dolphin Tale 2 that I just said, you know what? I'm going back to the tried and true. We're going back to the soundtrack to Guardians of the Galaxy to return. And this it actually kicks off the movie. I went down and I picked up the passes to the Birds too, so I actually have them in-house. And I was talking to him, and I had to go to a meeting that evening at about 5. And he looked at me and he said, you want to waste a little time? Guardians of the Galaxy is just about to start right now. Walked in right at the time where the last preview was ending and they were getting ready to start the movie. So I got to watch about the first 30 minutes of the film again. And you know what? I'd be willing to go back again. All right, so there we go. And let's stick with Marvel and our superheroes. Jeff, starting early for a second week in a row with the superheroes portion of the show. Chris Evans, we talked about him recently. He was thinking about maybe hanging up the cape the shield and kind of being done with Captain America. But now suddenly we're thinking, or he's thinking, he might not be so willing to give it up so quickly.
Right. Well, it was Anthony Russo, one of the directors of Winter Soldier, who sort of mentioned superheroes handing off to other characters, which in the comics, if people read that, they know that for a time, the Winter Soldier took Captain America's place.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But apparently, Chris Evans, not so quick. He's quoted as saying, "Who's handing off the shield? Don't take my job from me prematurely."
That's how fast, my friend.
Right, right. He says he's got a few more movies that he has to finish first, which he is happy to do. He says, I'm sure it'll happen at some point. All good things have to come to an end, but I'm really happy playing the character.
Cool. Okay, so he may be willing to stick around and do at least more appearances, if not necessarily Captain America movies. I know that we're going to do a Cap 3. That's confirmed. Obviously, we have Avengers 2 next year and the third Avengers film that we have to do, but he may be willing to do more past that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, they sort of asked him about this rumor that at the end of the next Avengers movie, there might be a whole new team with Cap as leader. He played coy. He's like, yeah, that'd be great. What can I say?
Oh, gotta love the teases.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting if he stuck around and in the role of Steve Rogers, but maybe not in the role of Captain America, as maybe the trainer of the new Captain America.
Or if he was Steve Rogers, head of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I guess the question at that point in time would be how close would they stick to comic book lore where we're hearing that he's handing it over to Falcon, and it's not necessarily because he's dead or anything. It's because he's lost his
will to
the
fight.
serum.
Super soldier stuff.
Yeah, the serum.
What? The serum has an expiration date?
No, somebody like
comic book science or something.
Somebody was able to pull it out of him without killing him. It's comic book stuff.
You can't really call bull crap on comic book.
Yeah, it's a comic book. It's kind of like watching a soap opera. I mean, people that have been dead, that have been decapitated, come back to life. So, comic books much the same way.
Yeah, that's why the Hulk is the Hulk and not the giant tumor.
It doesn't make any scientific sense that his super serum would have an expiration date.
Yeah, really. Well, I mean, they could try to explain it that way as well. Jacob, to you, we're going to stick with Marvel and rumors surrounding the aforementioned Avengers 3, despite the fact that we have yet to see Avengers 2. I guess this would figure. We're so geared up towards watching these couple of films that immediately people will start talking about Avengers 3. What is the rumor?
Well, the rumor is that Dave Bautista is reworking his contract with Marvel Studios, and that contract includes a significant part in Avengers 3. So we don't know what that is or if that's even true, but it might be interesting. We might see a Guardians of the Galaxy crossover there, and that might be the one where, Drax. We might see Drax in Avengers 3.
Yeah. Well, and it's been rumored that they were going to try and bring, some of the quote-unquote universes within the Marvel universe together. So it wouldn't be a big shock to me if they at least did that. And I will admit, I was actually pleasantly surprised by Dave Bautista. I wasn't overly convinced that he was going to be that great of an actor, but he actually acquitted himself quite well in that role.
Oh yeah, I mean he was perfectly cast. I could not have thought of a better person to play that role.
All right, let's go over here to Spider-Man. Jacob, Andrew Garfield has been talking about the upcoming Sinister Six film, and he is talking about whether he's involved or not. Is he actually saying yes or no, or is he just making another tease?
Well, it's really more of a tease, but his quote is that he says, "I can say I'm really excited about Drew Goddard, who's going to be writing and directing the Sinister Six movie, and whether I'm involved in that or not is kind of immaterial." So he's basically saying he may or may not be in this movie, which may be he's just a cameo. But at that point, you know, what is this movie actually going to be about? If Spider-Man has nothing to do with this movie, what is this movie?
I know, that's just what. Of course, given his recent comments this week about how Sony was to blame for how terrible the last Spider-Man movie was, he may not be in any of them.
Well, yeah, that may be true too. When do they want to try and get Sinister Six out, or have they said?
I just closed the article. Hold on, let me pull it back up. I don't know that they have anything. Sorry, November 11th, 2016.
Okay, so we still got 2 years to go before this thing comes out into theaters. We'll stay with the superhero theme one more time, Jacob, but this time Warner Brothers, who have said that they got some plans in mind for some upcoming films dealing with superheroes. What are they rumoring now?
Well, the big rumor right now, and like I said, still in the rumor stage, so we don't know that this is actually going to happen, but the rumor is that Warner Brothers is working on trying to create a Legion of Superheroes movie. For those who aren't familiar, basically Legion of Superheroes is like the Justice League in the future in space with time travel. So
terrible idea.
Yeah, I don't see this because I don't see DC being able to pull off unknown characters in a movie like Marvel can.
What are some of the characters in this?
Oh, you got Matter Eater Lad, Bouncing Boy, Saturn Girl, Lightning Lad.
Oh, like the Legion of like the 31st century. Oh, yeah,
man. I think they could do. That'd be great. Why not?
Let me ask this, because you're excited about this, obviously, Jeff. Let me ask you. We've seen Guardians of the Galaxy overall. Not a whole lot of people familiar with it until it came out in movie theaters.
Correct.
Could this be one of those deals, or should Warner Brothers think about, and DC Comics, by the way, think about some way of trying to introduce these characters to us before they give us a film like this?
I think at this point in time, in comic book films in theaters, general audiences are well aware enough of all the tropes and everything that comes around with the tights that we can just pick up a story right from the get-go. Don't have to do a lot of origin. Just here's who these characters are. This is what their powers do, and tell a good story.
Okay.
I don't see Warner Brothers trusting the characters enough to actually let the property be what it needs to be. It needs to be a little lighthearted, a little fun. They're not going to let it do that. They're going to ruin it.
Have a little faith, man.
I don't know.
Seriously, no one has any faith in DC and Warner Brothers except Jeff and I.
Well,
I'm interested if this is good. If they do this right, it's going to be. I think it has a chance to be a great Guardians of the Galaxy type movie.
If they could come out and do what they did with Guardians of the Galaxy, which was throw in a nice mix of humor along with the action and stuff, I think you could probably do it. But you got to find a way to attract people who are, again, unfamiliar with the characters.
The thing about the Legion of Superheroes is you don't have just 10 or 12 characters you can pick from. There are literally dozens, if not hundreds,
so they can play with a whole bunch of
characters who have joined the league at some point. Or Legion, I mean.
Okay.
I guarantee you that Guardians of the Galaxy was the catalyst for this.
Oh, I'm sure.
Line of thinking.
Oh,
They're like, what do we have like that?
Space. We need space. Give us space.
We have this, but it's too happy. We need to tone it down with some darkness.
They can do the Great Darkness saga.
Wow, there's a whole saga?
Yeah.
Why am I not surprised? Jacob, let's move away from superheroes here and talk about the 2013 film Now You See Me, turned into something of an unexpected hit. Lionsgate talking about a sequel, which they have firmed up the plans of, at least according to what you've learned.
Yeah, they have Lionsgate's dated Now You See Me 2 for June 10th, 2016. All of Mark Ruffalo, Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Isla Fisher, Dave Franco, Morgan Freeman, and Michael Caine are all going to reprise their roles.
I never saw the first one. Anybody?
I did. I saw it.
Yeah, any good?
It's really hard to say whether I liked it or hated it because it had moments of flash, but it felt like at times it was all flash and no flair. But at the very end, it leaves it wide open for a sequel, though.
Okay, Jacob.
I thought it was great. I mean,
yeah.
it's an interesting take on a mystery, in my opinion. But
I think I got it saved on the DVR. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
It's worth a watch, especially if you're not watching it. If you're not paying to watch it.
All right. Jeff, we've been talking about a possible sequel to Top Gun for, well, let me think here, pretty much since we started doing the Entertainment Roundtable, it seems like.
What?
Apparently, it looks like they got to go.
Yeah, it looks like we'll have some idea whether or not it might be terrible or not once Disney releases their Jungle Book film, since Justin Marks, the last guy to take a pass at that script, has just landed the writing gig for Top Gun 2. Woo!
So you get a guy who's well known for writing the Jungle Book to come in and write Top Gun.
Yeah, that's a lot of confidence right there.
But then again, his script for the Jungle Book was what got Jon Favreau on board to direct it. So maybe there's something there.
All right.
At least as far as, young adult stories about kids in the jungle.
And we know the obvious question is going to come up here, and I doubt seriously he's had any comment on this, but has Tom Cruise said whether he's going to do this or not? He said alternately, yes, I'm interested, and then no, not really, and then yeah, maybe, and I'm not sure.
According to the article I have, he is still slated to come back as Maverick, and he can be my wingman anytime.
If Favreau's directing, they should do a crossover, like one of the fighter pilots should be talking about how they actually had a run-in with Iron Man one time.
No,
I thought you were going to say a Jungle Book crossover. I think
well, yeah, you could do that too.
Led out by a young boy named Mowgli.
Jacob, Tom Hiddleston, we've mentioned here on the show before, slated to portray the legendary country singer Hank Williams Sr. By the way, was it you, Jacob, that posted where they showed him actually singing, and he did a not half bad rendition of Hank Sr.?
Yeah, the comments that I saw, I did post that. The comments that I saw about it, and from what I saw, it's pretty accurate as far as skill, but maybe didn't have quite the heart. But,
Well, he's just got to get more into the twang, that's all.
Right.
They're starting to fill out the cast. Who are they getting to appear with him?
Looks like the Scarlet Witch herself, Elizabeth Olsen, will play. She's going to play his wife, Audrey May.
I wonder who they're going to get to play Bocephus.
Should be interesting.
I mean,
some baby.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, we're so early in this. I don't know whether they're just going to come to an end right as with his death, or whether they're going to kind of look a little bit beyond it and talk about, his legacy and his son and, the rest of the family and how they've done in the music industry. So we'll have to wait and see. It just does seem odd that Tom Hiddleston, who we know so well as Loki, is turning around and playing a country singer, because I think of him alternately as two things. Number one, Loki, and number two, the guy in the Jaguar ad.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to picture him as Hank Sr.
The best thing they can do for his legacy is leave his son out of it.
Elijah.
You're probably right, David.
I will say I've seen some pictures, like they put, Tom Hiddleston next to Hank Williams Sr.
Okay.
And just there's been some pictures where it's like, okay, I can see this. I can see this working.
I'm going to have to look for that. The side-by-side?
Yeah, at least physically, I can see it working.
All right.
He's so low-key he could cry.
If you start singing There's a Tear in My Beer, I'm out. And it's your show at that point. Sci-fi stuff here, Jacob. In another week, another Star Wars rumor, it appears. Latest thing going around the internet about the upcoming Episode 7. What is it that they're rumoring on this one?
Okay, well, so again, more rumor, but J.J. Abrams recently sent out a tweet, and it was a picture, it was a picture he'd written something down, something about the iPhone. I forget exactly what the what the picture said. But in the reflection on the picture, you could see something that looked a lot like the walls of the Death Star. So there's a rumor going around that the Death Star may be coming back for Episode 7.
They already destroyed it twice.
I know that would be the dumbest empire ever. Hey, third time's a charm, guys.
Yeah, really. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how they're going to work this thing in, if they're going to work it in at all. Granted, it's a rumor. But, okay, so we destroyed the first Death Star in Episode 4. They built a new one. It wasn't quite finished by the time we got around to destroying it. In Return of the Jedi, Episode 6, it was blown up.
Again.
Huge. Created like a moon for the moon of Endor. Blown up.
Uh-huh.
How are they going to bring this back? Because nowhere in the legacy past Episode 6, and granted, I'm going by books, and they may not be going by the books wholly, but I don't remember them even trying to think about constructing another Death Star.
Maybe they were working on 2 at the same time.
The first two were.
The second one they blew up was just a ruse.
They were decoys, yes. The first 2 were merely decoys.
Here, let's throw this one out there, and we'll build this one way over here on the other side of the galaxy.
Super Death Star. It's a solid sphere, no openings at all. You can't get in this thing.
You know, that could just be the how the Imperial Force, ships are decorated. I mean, who knows? They may spin it off that way. So.
I don't know. It'll be
Well,
interesting.
it looked like they were trying to construct the Death Star at the end of Episode 3. It took them like 20 years to get it done.
Yeah.
So
well, it would take them, and this one's supposed to be set something like 30 years after Episode 6.
They're just trying really hard to figure out how to make it without that one fatal flaw.
Right.
You notice that they made the flaw bigger from one to the next. I mean, first of all, you couldn't even fit an X-Wing down there. You could only throw a bomb down the hole, and then next time around, you throw the Millennium Falcon through the vents. I mean, come on.
Well, they went into the non-completed side.
Yeah, but guess what? They came out through the completed side.
Maybe we should think of alternative power sources for Death Star version 3.0.
Jacob, let's stick with sci-fi here. And Ryan, I know that you've got comments on this, so you'll be up first. Let's talk about the Underworld franchise. Jacob, I hear they're ready for a change, possibly dealing with the person in the lead role. What are you learning?
Yeah, so it looks like they're trying to get... First of all, this is not... We thought this was a reboot, but actually it's going to be a sequel. And instead of Kate Beckinsale returning as the lead, they're going to switch over to Theo James, who we know from the Divergent series. And actually, I didn't know this until I just reading this story, but Theo James has appeared in this series before in Underworld Awakening.
Okay.
So,
Ryan, you gave me a message this morning online that said, angry. The floor is yours.
Well, the reason I say that is because, yes, I've seen this franchise from day one. I know who the David character is. I know who Theo James is. They want to put him in the next one. That's okay. But, I mean, seriously, at the end of the 4th installment of this great franchise, especially with Underworld Awakening, granted the prequel notwithstanding, Celine was like, okay, Michael's lost. He's still out there. We need to find him. So they didn't wrap up the Celine/Michael storyline. So how can you put a new guy in the role without wrapping up Kate Beckinsale and Scott Speedman's storyline first before you start introducing new stories and characters? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Kate Beckinsale is not going to be in this movie. Give me a freaking break, man.
Maybe they couldn't. Maybe they couldn't
come to an agreement with her.
Enough.
I wonder. Yeah, maybe they couldn't pay her enough, and they'll explain it away in the first 5 minutes of the movie. It'll just be real quick, and Ryan will be ticked off.
Well, what is Kate doing lately? She has nothing much else on her plate, so bring her back for Underworld. It made her famous anyway.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out as we go along. We're running late here, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. We'll finish up our movie segment, get into the DVDs and the TV news, all of that on the other side.
Hope you got your popcorn, because we're back to the Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
I was initially going to try and find the version of Love and Marriage Frank Sinatra did for the old TV show Married with Children. Couldn't find it anywhere in the system. So Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We will be talking.
We'll be talking about that song for the DVDs.
Really? They can't?
Yeah, they put a sound-alike in.
Wow.
They lost the license to it.
Interesting. We'll have to see how that affects plans for that show coming up a little bit later on. Right now, let's run through the last couple of things here, and we move over to kind of comedies here. Jacob saw the film reboot of the old TV show 21 Jump Street earlier this summer. Some people saw the sequel 22 Jump Street, and apparently we're going to get a 23.
Yeah, apparently enough people saw that to merit a sequel. Don't know when it's going to come out or anything about the plot, but they've greenlit it. So,
Jeff, you got 22 Jump Street. I see why they made a sequel.
Right.
190 million.
Yeah.
Speaking of comedies, Jacob, plans for a Ted 2, which has another name attached.
Yeah, following up Dolphin Tale 2, Morgan Freeman is going to be in Ted 2. He's going to play a iconic civil rights lawyer who helps Ted take care of some legal issues.
Well, there's a talking teddy bear.
That's intriguing.
I'm Morgan Freeman.
Speaking of Morgan Freeman, apparently he's going to be a pretty busy man. Signed on to show up in a reboot of a classic Charlton Heston film. Which one?
Yeah, it looks like they...
Omega Man.
No.
No?
Yeah. People who are doing the remake of Ben-Hur have made their first formal casting in Morgan Freeman. He's going to play Ildarin, the man who teaches the slave Ben-Hur to become the champion caliber captain.
I get the funny feeling Jeff has commentary.
Christian. We've already seen him play this role with Robin Hood. Come on.
That's true. We have. You're right. One more note here on the movies. Next year's Pixar animated sequel, Finding Dory, after Finding Nemo, continues to add names to the voice cast. Who's on board? Morgan Freeman. When is the movie slated to come out in theaters? Actually, I don't think it's Morgan Freeman, is it?
Not Morgan Freeman, but it is another name we've mentioned today. We got two the Wire characters coming together. Dominic West and Idris Elba are going to be joining the cast of Finding Dory.
What?
So if it's not Morgan Freeman, it's Idris Elba, apparently.
McNulty and?
By the way, if you were doing a fantasy movie star league, pick up Idris Elba. He's on the rise.
Yeah. You could do wrong with neither picking Idris Elba or Morgan Freeman. You'd be just fine.
Man. Looks like it's going to be hitting theaters June 17th, 2016.
Well, I know that we'll be there. My wife and I enjoy Pixar animated films for the most part. All right, we're up to 3 movies this week after last week only having Captain America 2, which had the week of movie releases all to itself. We're up to 3 this week. You could choose from Godzilla, The Fault in Our Stars, and for the first time ever on Blu-ray, a combo of both of the Ghostbusters films. Saw a deal where Bill Murray commented on how he would like to see, now that we've seen he's not going to participate in a 3, and we just lost Harold Ramis earlier this year, that he would like to see an all-female cast of the Ghostbusters for Ghostbusters 3. Actually, I kind of liked his ideas.
Yeah, and his choices were pretty good, pretty solid.
Kristen Wiig was among them. He talked about Melissa McCarthy. Apparently, Anna Faris, which is the weakest of the bunch to me, was in there, and there was one other one that he was mentioning too. If I can't
remember.
I can't think of who it was.
It was Emma Stone.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. She's got some half-decent comedic chops. I could see that. A lot of TV shows, again, coming out on DVD this week. It includes Season 2 of Arrow, Season 7 of The Big Bang Theory, Season 9 of Bones, Season 6 of Castle, Season 3 of Grimm, Season 2 of Hannibal, and Season 1 of Sleepy Hollow. All right, 2 television. First up is ABC and the aforementioned Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Jeff, we got some guest roles lining up, so who's going to be appearing, and do we know in what way?
Yeah, well, the only one that I have is Haley Atwell.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing.
No, Agent Carter. I'm assuming they're setting up her, mid-season show. Agent Carter, or yeah.
Well, and it could also be a kind of a continuation of her appearance in Captain America 2.
Right, and apparently she's going to be in the pilot episode called Shadows. I'm sorry, not the pilot, the season 2 premiere episode.
Right.
I think mostly through flashbacks. So people are speculating it'll probably be Coulson researching the genesis or the founding of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
And going back to, but then again, she is still alive.
Yeah.
In the timeline. But.
Okay. So Haley Atwell is coming in.
I know they've cast Mockingbird and some other dude that I've never heard before, but whatever. Haley Atwell.
Haley Atwell's the big one. Going to stay right there on ABC, Jeff. The network has given out word of a Jerry Bruckheimer show. This one entitled something called Couch Detective.
Yeah, apparently there was a situation where multiple networks are bidding on this show, and ABC won by handing out a hefty pilot commitment from the creator of Awkward, Lauren Ingerich, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. Apparently, it is described as a comedic mystery that follows the exploits of a 30-something female couch detective who solves crimes based on her encyclopedic knowledge of every true crime TV special, police procedural, and made-for-TV movie.
Oh, well, yeah.
Sounds awful.
That makes her an expert. I've watched every episode of Law & Order, NCIS, and CSI, so therefore I can solve your crime. That should be her ad.
There you
Like
go,
female
right?
Nero Wolf of the modern age.
Yeah, exactly. One more note on ABC, and Jacob, to you, it has to do with the adaptation of a Dan Brown book. What do you know about a series based upon Digital Fortress?
Yeah, ABC has picked up this idea. They're going to try to recreate or redo this book. It's almost like it's ripped out of the news headlines. It centers around a Snowden-esque character who's threatening to release all of the government secrets to the highest bidder, and a female cryptographer and her elite teams were tasked to stop him. So, if you're interested in that kind of thing,
Probably next year?
spy game. Yeah, probably.
Okay. To the Fox network, Jacob talked about John Stamos and a possible deal with ABC, but apparently Fox had some other ideas when it came to Stamos.
Yeah, apparently they outbid ABC on this untitled single-camera comedy.
Stamos bidding war.
Yeah. So apparently in this, we can't even do this.
This is the saddest I've been for network television in a long time.
We're gonna get Stamos. Write a check.
So in this story, Stamos is going to play a longtime bachelor whose life is turned upside down when he discovers he's a father and a grandfather.
That sounds like, hey, baby, print your own money, right?
Yeah, really.
I'm tuning in.
Might as well. You got to figure out what the bidding war was about.
They should just make this the Full House reunion.
There you go. Really. Speaking of Fox, we talked about it, Married with Children, just a little bit ago. Apparently, since the 2 decades since it went off the air, they want to try and bring it back?
Yeah, they are going to try to do a spin-off based on David Faustino's character, Bud Bundy.
Yeah. They chose the one character who I least cared about.
Right.
Right, and the actor who has had the least success going on from Married with Children.
Exactly.
Exactly. He's the only one available.
Right.
Well, that's true, too.
Well, at least his mom might be available after, next year.
Yeah, because Sons of Anarchy ends after this season.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but she's popular, and she's going to she costs money.
Well, yeah. Jacob, over to cable, AMC, they got a arm wrestling show entitled Game of Arms. I have to ask the question, how successful can a show about arm wrestling really be?
Apparently, enough for AMC to renew Game of Arms for a second season.
Oh, good grief. I'm going to leave that right there. The USA Network, which has had some success with original dramas, they're working up something entitled Mr. Robot, Jacob.
Yeah, it's a 1-hour drama. It's going to be centered around some hackers and trying to become friends with people by hacking. It sounds like a strange premise. But they're getting Suburgatory alum Carly Chaikin and actress from Her named Portia Doubleday.
Okay.
To play in this.
In other words, two people I'm thoroughly unfamiliar with.
Yeah, they're not big names.
All right. To TNT with two things here. Movies being made into TV shows, not new at all. But for TNT it is. And they're about to get the star of Shooter to come on board and do a TV adaptation of that movie?
Yeah, basically. Shooter is coming back as a TV show instead of a movie, and they're getting Mark Wahlberg to star.
Wow.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Yeah, really. Stay with TNT. They're apparently wanting to get on the superhero genre over at TNT. What are they going to try and pull out?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. They are looking at trying to get a version of Titans, or you may know them as Teen Titans, an hour-long drama based on the younger characters in the DC comic universe.
Okay.
Teaming up with DC wouldn't be all that bad. I was thinking they were going to try and do, come up with their own characters and make it really campy.
No.
Well, I guess they're going to have Cyborg and the Superman Batman, so he'll probably be off the list.
Yeah, they haven't said who.
I bet no Robin, probably.
Yeah, probably Robin. probably Beast Boy, but who knows?
And in true Warner Brothers fashion, it won't have anything to do with any of the other things that are showing.
Sure.
Correct.
There you go. When I was a little bit younger, Jacob, I remember a show that was entitled Double Dare. It got pretty messy, and according to some reports coming down, Mark Summers, who was the host of the original show, is wanting to try and bring that back. What do you know?
Yeah, so excited about this. Mark Summers wants to reboot Double Dare and kind of center it more around for like colleges, since a lot of people in college and people in their 30s and around that age are very familiar with the show. He wants to do it, although the obstacle is, no pun intended, that he and Nickelodeon have not been in good terms for many years. So who knows if they'll be able to get it, off the ground. But it's definitely an interesting idea.
I wouldn't think that Nickelodeon would be the only place he might be able to shop that, though.
Yeah, I don't know that he has the rights to it, though.
Well, then there's that. All right.
This is the college edition. Instead of being slimed, are they beard? Is there beer poured on them? I don't understand.
If they did it, I don't know that Nickelodeon would be the best place to put it. Maybe
you might be right.
MTV or VH1.
Yeah.
One of the other
if they do it, we should sign up as a team.
Oh, I'm in. I'm so in.
I will take the challenge, Mark.
Oh, that'd be a little weird. Let's see. And one more note on television. Our great listener, our sometimes contributor, Daniel, checked in, let me know that the Showtime original show Nurse Jackie, which stars Edie Falco, beginning its 7th season shortly. It's going to be the final season for the drama. According to the report, the decision to end the show does appear to be that of the network. Earlier on in the week, we found out that the man who brought the rather campy, villainous character of Jaws to life in 2 James Bond films, Richard Kiel, passed away. Kiel came to notoriety playing the man whose teeth were replaced by a metal clamp-like jaw in The Spy Who Loved Me and the even more campy turn in Moonraker. He appeared in actually a number of films and TV shows over the course of his life. Gentleman was born in Detroit, Michigan in 1939, grew to the unusual height at a very young age due to a hormonal condition, and I hope I get this right, as yeah, I'm not going to get this right. Acromegaly. Acromegaly?
I think that's right.
Ended up growing up to be officially 7 foot 1.5 inches in height. He stated that he, just for simplistic purposes, he always told people he was 7'2". Ironically, had a major fear of heights. He first appeared on TV in an episode of the Western Laramie before he went on to appear in films. Kicked off the movie career with the lead role in the B movie Eegah, which apparently that's all that the lead character said throughout the entire film. Grew in popularity due to appearances on shows like Mystery Science Theater 3000 and Elvira's Movie Macabre. I remember that vaguely. Elvira's fleeting moments of fame for about 2 years there. Later, he would have a recurring role in the TV series The Wild Wild West before he moved on to show up in bit roles in several other shows, and that's when Kiel and Arnold Schwarzenegger started to come to some prominence. Those two were initially tabbed as the favorites to play the role of the Hulk in the mid to late 70s TV show The Incredible Hulk, but he was turned down. Kiel was, due to his height, after appearing as a villain with metal teeth in the 1976 movie Silver Streak. He showed up on TV again in the William Shatner series Barbary Coast, and that prompted a call from the producers of the James Bond films. Then he would later appear in Force 10 from Navarone, Cannonball Run 2, and Happy Gilmore, among other films, before unofficially retiring from the business after having done some voice work for the animated 2010 film Tangled. Died in a hospital in Fresno, California at the age of 74.
Cannot believe you did not recognize possibly his finest work in
Talk
film.
to me.
The 1983 Hudson Brothers film Hysterical, in which he played a zombie sea captain.
I have not seen that.
And everyone he murdered could come back as a zombie who could only say, "What difference does it make?"
Wow. Hillary Clinton's favorite film.
There you go.
Sorry to go all political. All right. Here we go. And there is a reason why Jacob is called for this. Because as I look at this, there are only 2 guys that are on the list that have all 5 of their films that are still out in theaters. And that's the leaders, Jeff and Jacob. I've got 3 films that are out. Ryan, you got 3 films that are out. Josh has 2 films that are out. David, you got 2 films that are out of theaters altogether, which means there is no chance they're going to make any more money to be able to advance your position here. So in looking at this and running it down, I'm going to go from the bottom to the top here. Ryan, you're bringing up the rear, my friend, and it doesn't look like you're going to have much chance of getting out of last place. $354.7 million of the films that you got out right now. You got Hercules and Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. $71 and $13 million combined. Your two films that are in movie theaters right now have not made $100 million.
Yeah, this whole thing was rigged from the get-go. I want a rematch, dude.
We will have a rematch. I think we're planning on doing a fall movie league if you're interested.
I'm in, man. Let's make this a steel cage match. I want my revenge.
Steel cage match. David, you're in fifth here. $379.2 million. You still got Planes, Fire, and Rescue, Sex Tape, and The Expendables 3 out there. At least those three combined have made more than $100 million.
I was wondering what was on my list.
Yep, there you go. Up to number 4, or let's see, number 4, looks to be me, $650.2 million. And that I've only got Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and The Purge Anarchy left, and yeah, they're not making much. Third is Josh, $759.4 million. He has got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles still out there and Let's Be Cops, but I don't think either of them are going to gain enough ground for Jacob to be overtaken. Second place, $785.8 million. All 5 of your films out there, including Guardians of the Galaxy. But Jeff at number 1, $856.9 million. We mentioned the fact that Lucy's out there still in theaters and still making money, so you're looking good, my friend.
Why, thank you, Steve. I feel good.
Yes, you should. Ryan, where can we find you online?
On Facebook at Ryan Matthews or on Twitter at RyanRPM5.
David can find you online too, right?
Yes, sir. You can find my comedy sketches and original web series at maladjusted.tv.
There you go. Jacob, be talking to you here soon. Jeff, thank you very much for everything, and we will talk to you again next week on the Entertainment Roundtable.